Let's solve homework exercise number 17 from section 10.6. It says a tower is 115 feet tall, cast a shadow, 115 feet tall, cast a shadow 159. Find the angle of elevation of the sun to the nearest degree. So the angle of elevation is with respect to the ground, so it's this angle right here marked with the little arc. Okay, so we need to find that angle. We can call it angle A if we want. Now notice, with respect to this angle A, the angle of elevation, the 115 is one of the legs, right? Because it forms the right triangle, forms the right angle. So it's away from the sides, away from angle A, so it's side opposite. This is another leg, and this is the side adjacent, okay? So, and of course, the hypotenuse is here. We're not given that. So we use the two given sides. Opposite and adjacent involves the tan function, right? So the tangent of angle A we need to find is the side opposite, which is 115, divided by the side adjacent, which is 159. Okay, so when you need to find the angle, you need to switch this around, right? And use, so angle A becomes this. To move tangent over to the right side, you do the tangent inverse of 115 over 159, okay? Now again, tangent in the inverse keys are in blue on your TI-84. If you're using a cheaper scientific calculator, usually you'll see it'll be marked tangent inverse and tangent, so you may have to use the second, or maybe its other a completely different key, but on the 83, 84, you use the second key first, and then here tangent will give you the blue, which is the tangent inverse right there in blue. Okay, so that's how you use your calculator, and then you'll put in 115 divided by 159. Now again, before we do this, you got to make sure, remember, you got to make sure your calculator's in degree mode. So you've got to go to the mode key, which is next to the second, right? And mode key, and again, yeah, it's automatically, the default set is radians. So you have to go down, use your down arrow key 2 times, highlight, then you'll get into the third row, and then use your right arrow key to highlight degree. But now you have to hit enter to save it. Once you save it, then the degree will be blinking, which means your answer is given in degrees, which is what we want. We don't want radians. All right, and then to get out of this mode, you see the quit above the mode in blue. So you hit second quit, or second mode for quit. You get out of the mode. And now we can go what? Now we need to do the second tangent inverse, right? For to get second tangent, to get tangent inverse, and it was 115 divided by 159, and you got that division, so you need a right paren there, and then you hit enter, and 35.8, so round to the nearest whole number. There's a 0.8 in the tenths, so we would round up to 36 degrees, and there's our correct answer. Again, you've got on the calculator, you've got the second and then the mode to get into the second mode, or no, just mode, I'm sorry, just the mode to get into the, to change it from degrees to, from radians to degrees, right? Mode, and so you've got to do the mode there, and that's where you go down and you go ahead and highlight degree and hit enter, and then you'll have it, and then you'll hit second mode to quit, and then we had to use the tanverse inverse, which was again second tan, because tangent inverse is in blue. So whenever you need to find the angle, you do the second and then the sine, cosine, or tangent key. All right, very good. Number 18. A helicopter hovers 1,150 feet above a small island, so there it is. And the figure shows that the angle of depression from the helicopter from to point P is 50, so this angle outside is 50. How far off the coast to the nearest foot is the island? So along the coast here, So we need to find this side, which is labeled D. Now actually, these two angles, the 50-degree angle and the angle inside the triangle, form a right angle, these two. So what happens here, this angle, sorry, my calc. Okay, so now, again, what I was saying is we have these two angles form a right angle. So if this is 50, then we would do 90 minus 50 degrees would give us 40 degrees for this angle right here, okay? Or also from alternate interior angles, this angle here would also be 50 degrees, okay? But most people just would go ahead and do this angle, but either one. Now, if we use this angle, we need to find this side D, right? With respect to this angle, the 40 degree here, we are missing the side opposite, right? It's a leg, it forms the right angle, and then this side, so this side is opposite, and this side is next to the right, next to the angle, and it's one of the legs, so this is the adjacent side. So again, the trig function that involves the opposite and adjacent is the tangent, right? So the tangent, I'll use this angle, 40 degrees, right, is equal to the side opposite, which we need to find is D, over the side adjacent, which is 1,150. So we can simply multiply both sides by 1,150. These cancel, and then we just get D is 1,150 times the tangent of 40 degrees, okay? And that will be our answer. We can do it on our calculator, okay? All right, so we'll go ahead and do that on our calculator. 1,150, and then the tangent of 40 degree, right? That's the angle inside. You can just put them in. You don't have to do a multiplication symbol. It'll automatically multiply. But if you put in a multiplication, it'll do it correctly. So 964.9 rounded to the nearest whole number. So the 0.9 is in the 10, so we round up, add 1 to the ones, and get 965. All right, very good. Number 19, a wheelchair ramp is to be built beside the steps to a campus library. Okay, so we've got the building here, the library, and the wheelchair ramp. Well, let's just make it a little bit steeper than it probably would. So the wheelchair ramp is right there, right? Find the angle of elevation if a 23-foot ramp, so the ramp is 23 feet. If its final height, right, the vertical change, the vertical is 5, right? So that side would be 5. So again, we have the final height is the vertical change, so that would be 5. The ramp here is 23, and we want to find the ramp's angle of elevation, which would be right there. So again, if we just make it a little bit bigger, this is 23. Here's my right angle. This is the vertical change, 5, and here's my angle of elevation with respect to the ground. Okay, so there's my angle A. Now again, this side, here's my right angle because it's the height, it's perpendicular to the ground. So with respect to angle A, this side is this is one of the sides that form the right angle, and it's away from angle A, so it's opposite. This side is opposite the right angle, so this is the hypotenuse, right? So we know the trig function that involves opposite over hypotenuse is the sine. So the sine of angle A is going to be the side opposite, 5 over 23, which then we convert to an inverse sine, right? So A is the inverse sine. Always use the inverse when you're trying to find the angle of 5 over 23. And again, remember, we'll hit second and then sine key to get the inverse sine because it's in blue. Okay, so there's that will give us our answer in terms of the degree of the angle. So we'll go ahead and put that into our calculator. second, sine inverse, and then it was what? Side opposite 5 divided by the hypotenuse, the ramp 23, and the angle is 12.55. Okay, rounded to the nearest tenth. Now be careful. Rounded to the nearest tenth. We've been rounding to the nearest 1 for a lot of them. So the hundredths is a 5, so we would add 1, right? So we'd round up to 12.6 degrees, right? They already have the degrees in there, so we can simply put in 12.6. All right, very good. Okay, this takes care of all the problems from section 10.6. This is your math teacher, Dr. Swears. I hope you found these videos helpful. Thank you for watching them. If you need further help, send me an email in the inbox through the Canvas course at FGCU portal. I'll respond the first opportunity I get. Again, thank you for watching these videos.